Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics on Random. Egberto Will is your host. Thank you so kind for being a part of the show. We are going to have a great show for you today, as usual. We are going to have a great show for you today. Oh, man, I just got through processing the last video, and we got it in. I got it in. It's an important video, and it's probably the video that I want to start with. But before we get started, you know I have to speak to my peeps and see how's everybody else doing. Let me put my backup chat on the other screen because you know what happens sometimes. Anyway, welcome aboard, Paul Fleming from Powder Springs, Georgia. Welcome, Bridge MCP from what again? From Binghamton, New York. Welcome to E2247 from all over. Welcome to Michael Rudnin from Brooklyn, New York. Welcome to para ver quién más está aquí. Michael Rudnin from Brooklyn, New York. I got that already. Where are all my peeps? People are not completely registered yet. Eric Hayes is in. He says, I like this comment. Love the way the Dems circumvented their democratic process to save democracy. You know, I challenge somebody who called my show, and I'm going to play it later this morning, to make that silly claim. There was no circumvention of the democratic process. But again, that's a narrative. There's a whole lot of false narratives that's going out there. And the mainstream media is doing a good job of towing the line. But anyway, let me go ahead and start reading what we have from our great peeps. BBC, Vice President Kamala Harris has secured the support of the majority of the Democratic delegates to become the party's nominee for president. A survey by the Associated Press on Monday evening said she had received the endorsement of more than 1976 delegates needed to win the nomination in the first round of voting. No one has publicly stepped forward to challenge Ms. Harris since President Joe Biden left race on Sunday. If the total holds between now and when delegates cast their votes, scheduled to take place between the 1st and 7th of August, Ms. Harris would formally clinch the party's nomination. The survey by AP is an indication of the groundswell of support for Ms. Harris after President Joe Biden dropped out of the race. You see, the right is growing crazy because the Democrats have decided to coalesce again around the candidate. They've decided that they were going to stop any kind of infighting. And now they don't know what to do. They don't know what to do. It's amazing. They don't know what to do. So here's the deal, folks. Here is the deal. Let's be very, 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 very clear. We know that the Democratic Party is now coalesced with Kamala as the standard bearer of the party. And she went and she gave some great speeches, right? And she went toe to toe with Donald Trump. No holding back. She must show her strength. Because a lot of people think, oh, macho, macho, macho. He's a strong man. Well, we are going to see that there's nothing strong about Donald Trump, and he must be. I indicate the American people must, and I want everybody to listen to me clearly on this particular item here. The American people must see that Donald Trump is not feared at all. That you can go up against him and watch him wither, because again, paper tigers cannot be allowed to destroy the American democracy. I'm not talking about our MAGA brothers and sisters. I'm not talking about our Republican brothers and sisters. I'm talking about the leadership that has failed you. I'm talking about a leadership that has lied to you. I'm talking about a leadership that has created a whole lot of people that are completely ill-informed, and pointing out that somebody is ill-informed is not at all wrong. Now, let's see who else is in the house. Paul Fleming from Powder Springs. I think I called you out already. I missed that. Whoops. All right. Let's see. Paul Fleming says, ain't funny that same black people who want you to believe Kamala Harris locked up thousands of black men for weed don't want you to believe Project 2025, Trump's plan for a second term. Look, let's get something clear here. let's get something clear. There are a lot of people that don't have the best interest of anyone at hand. And my contention is that if you support Donald Trump, let's talk about what it means. It means that you can look in your daughter's eyes. You can look in your daughter's eyes and say, daughter of mine, remember, I don't mind voting for a man. I don't mind voting for a man that grabbed on women's crutches. I don't mind voting for a man that has taken the wealth away from many, that have stiffed the people who've worked at his hotel, sue and allowed them to perish in court. I don't mind taking a charity that purportedly was there to provide charitable contributions to others. I don't mind taking that money, even though I say I am rich. I don't mind telling you you're attending Trump's university and it's not being a university at all. It's but a scam. I don't mind, and I can name that with the water that he sold, with the food that with the steak. And you look at your daughter and you say, I don't mind making the person who runs this land be responsible for all those things. That's what you are saying once you vote for somebody like Donald Trump. And you know what was wonderful about yesterday and also today, when Kamala went to Wisconsin and when Kamala went to Delaware to speak to the campaign, the headquarters, because what she showed is that she was not going to be scared and that she was willing and able to challenge Donald Trump on the merits and then speak about what she will do going forward. Let's go ahead and play that, and then we'll take it on the other side. We got a call. Let's go ahead and go to Joe. Come on in, Joe.
Hey, good morning, Egberto.
Good morning, sir.
Project 2025, the 920-page policy manifesto.
Kamala Harris gave her first stump speech. She went to the Biden-Harris headquarters, now the Harris headquarters in Delaware, and she gave that stump speech that had a lot of parts to it. I cut out a particular section of the speech that encompasses exactly how the campaign must go, and it is clear that they understand exactly what they have to do to not only beat Trump, but beat Project 2025, and also in a manner that America sees the future. Check this out, then we'll take it on the other side.
So in the days and weeks ahead, I, together with you, will do everything in my power to unite our Democratic Party, to unite our nation, and to win this election. You know, as many of you know, before I was elected as vice president, before I was elected as United States Senator, I was the elected Attorney General, as I've mentioned, of California. And before that, I was a courtroom prosecutor. In those roles, I took on perpetrators of all kinds. Predators who abused women, fraudsters who ripped off consumers, cheaters who broke the rules for their own gain. So hear me when I say, I know Donald Trump's type. And in this campaign, I will proudly put my record against his. As a young prosecutor, when I was in the Alameda County District Attorney's Office in California, I specialized in cases involving sexual abuse. Donald Trump was found liable by a jury for committing sexual abuse. As Attorney General of California, I took on one of our country's largest for-profit colleges and put it out of business. Donald Trump ran a for-profit college, Trump University, that was forced to pay $25 million to the students it scammed. As district attorney, to go after polluters, I created one of the first environmental justice units in our nation. Donald Trump stood in Mar-a-Lago and told big oil lobbyists he would do their bidding for a $1 billion campaign contribution. During the foreclosure crisis, I took on the big Wall Street banks and won $20 billion for California families, holding those banks accountable for fraud. Donald Trump was just found guilty of 34 counts of fraud. But make no mistake, all of that being said, this campaign is not just about us versus Donald Trump. There is more to this campaign than that. Our campaign has always been about two different versions of what we see as the future of our country, two different visions for the future of our country. One focused on the future, the other focused on the past. Donald Trump wants to take our country backward to a time before many of our fellow Americans had full freedoms and rights. But we believe in a brighter future that makes room for all Americans. We believe in a future where every person has the opportunity not just to get by, but to get ahead. We believe in a future where no child has to grow up in poverty, where every person can buy a home, start a family, and build wealth, and where every person has access to paid family leave and affordable childcare. That's the future we see. Together, we fight to build a nation where every person has affordable health care, where every worker is paid fairly, and where every senior can retire with dignity. All of this is to say, building up the middle class will be a defining goal of my presidency. Because we here know when our middle class is strong, America is strong. That's right. And we know that's not the future Donald Trump is fighting for. He and his extreme Project 2025 will weaken the middle class and bring us backward. Please do note that. Back to the failed trickle-down policies that gave huge tax breaks to billionaires and big corporations and made working families pay the cost. Back to policies that put Social Security and Medicare on the chopping block. Back to policies that treat healthcare as only a privilege for the wealthy instead of what we all know it should be, which is a right for every American. Right. America has tried these economic policies before. They do not lead to prosperity. They lead to inequity and economic injustice. And we are not going back.
Kamala Harris did exactly what she needed to do. She prosecuted Trump. Man, that equating Trump as a rapist, Trump as a thief, and Trump as a crook. I mean, it was so well placed compared to all the people she's prosecuted. She pretty much says Trump represents every single person that she's prosecuted with the plethora of illegalities that he has done, with the plethora of law breaking, with the plethora of just thuggish behavior. But secondly, she also addressed Project 2025 and the dangers that would come to pass if implemented. But she did just make this a speech where she is attacking Donald Trump and just speaking about how bad Project 2025 is going to be. But she gave the Americans something to look for, something to see as their future, something to look forward to. And that is what a speech of the future should sound like. You prosecute the evil one. You prosecute that which would harm, the actual policies that would harm, and then you move forward. This is what I intend to provide you. Elect me, because under our tutelage, under our presidency, your life will be better. And here is why. And I love that the contrast, the way she wove that in. First, these are the prosecutable offenses, and this is why he's not qualified. But we're not going to get stuck on that. But what we're going to do is tell you what we're going to do forward. There's another modification. I think it has to come to the speech. And what we have is on Fox News, they have a false reality of what Trump's economy looked like. The surrogates need to be out there pointing out that in every aspect of Biden's economy, it outdid Trump. And the only part of Biden's economy that is a problem has been inflation. Well, that's not true. We look about the income inequality, but to solve that, we have to change our economic system. I've said that, and that we have to make it a lot more redistributive, because right now it is redistributive in the wrong direction, which means the people that do the least make the most. But we have to, and I stand by that statement. Anybody wants to discuss that? But anyway, we have to get to that point where we actually point out the contrast between the economies. She doesn't need to get herself bogged down on numbers, because people look for the president at those speeches to be aspirational. So you can say it real quickly and move on and tell people what you are going to do. And it seems like she's well on her way of campaigning in that sort of a manner. Yes, Bridge MCP, she has brought in more money in the 24 hours than any other president, bar none. That is a measure of excitement. Now, the media is now going in a frenzy, because they have to go back on everything that they said, because, you know, the Democrats are a basket case. Oh, they can't win. They're disarray, et cetera, et cetera. Now that they've come together and they have a winning ticket, and that they see the excitement that's out there for Kamala. I got to get it right. For Kamala, now that they see that excitement, oh, they're worried, because, you know, the media loves the Democrats as a basket case. They never prosecute Donald Trump for the evil that he represents. And it's amazing that they continue to fail there. I'm continuing to read. Love how Eric is literally speaking Fox. Yeah, Eric puppeteers Fox. He doesn't like to say it, but he believes Fox. But look, I watched Fox last night, and Fox is convincing. I watched Sean Hannity last night, and I watched the other clown that comes on before him. And notice I did name call my brother Bruce, who tries to get me to tamp down on. I don't name call though, Bruce. I name call the people that should be name called. I don't name call my brothers here, like Eric or my other MAGA brothers. Even if you listen to the 2 calls that I took today from MAGA, I wasn't name calling them at all. I don't name call at all in that regards. But for the crooks that represent the people who know, that are fooling people like Mike and Lee and all these others, I do name call those guys, because they are incarnate evil people to do what they're doing to our society. All right, continuing. Lee Grant says, hey, y'all, Kamala called Joe Biden a racist during her campaign for president. She calls a lot of people racist this time, too. Actually, that's not what she did. She pointed out a statement of fact of something that Biden did. And what Biden did is, during the school, but Biden didn't support certain types of school busing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's a statement of fact. He's an old man of the past. And those things are the way it is. Look. Former Governor Wallace, or the Wallace who got shot when he was running for president, he made a 180 in his thought process. And for making that 180, he had a whole lot of black support and people of color support back in Alabama or Mississippi. I don't remember where Wallace was from, one or the other. So no, Biden wasn't some bastion of freedom in the past. But for those people who make a transition, look, I was a homophobe. And after being schooled, changed. I'm not looking for a pat on the back, because what I needed was a kick in the ass. Hello, Yvette Avery Herod. See you here. Sorry for your power fail. But you know what? Bridge MCP still loves me. You know why? Because I truly changed, not only from the mind, but from the heart. I love everybody, even a racist who changes is on my team. All right. So saying, oh, Kamala Harris called Biden a racist. Biden was likely a racist back in the early days. Why should he be different than most people of his era? That's how they were reared. So let's get frank and honest. Let's be frank and honest. Okay, continuing, my dear brothers and sisters. Michael says, watch the conservatives in the chat and notice that they will have nothing substantive to attack Kamala Harris on, nothing of point and any bad policies. Don't panic too hard. They are panicking. Hey, Jay Ray said he wanted to call. Jay, I'll hold on for 2 minutes before I do to the other video. If you want to call now, my brother, call now if you want to. All right, let's see what else we got here. Let's see. Let me make sure that the phone is adjusted in case brother Jay Ray calls in. All right, there we go. All right. How you doing? From Gaza to Iran, what Kamala Harris Middle East policy could look like? I'll read that at another time. These right-wingers, some are MAGA or lost as what we do. All right, Ray, talk to me, my dear brother. Talk to me. I think I have my right connections made. How are you doing, sir?
Mic check. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right. Yeah, I was listening to your callers earlier, and they sound so ridiculous on the morning show. Sometimes it's like if I just can, imitate, like, the Democrats are stealing the thing, and then it's like, you know what? They are very one-shoe people because they never see the shoe on the other. They never look at it if the shoe was on the other foot. You know what I mean? And it's just. It's sad that they have been so brainwashed by their cult that they literally can look at any and everything that the Democrats do is wrong and everything that the Republicans do is right or heading in the right direction, no matter how garbage it is, no matter how many marginalized people it'll affect. Oh, it's okay. We'll be all right through that. But no, you'll be all right, or so you think.
No, they won't.
That's mocking.
No, they won't be all right.
That's what they feel.
Jay, Ray, let me tell you something, Ray. First of all, two things. I have two cuts of two of those MAGA folks that I had this morning that I'm going to play in a little bit. And the reason I'm going to play them, I cleaned it up by taking out some of the extra noise so that people would understand it better. But here's the thing. They are going to be hurt more so than progressives because the people that vote for Republicans in general today are worse off in the aggregate. So they can vote for 2025. I have a piece on 2025 that I got to play as well. I got a lot of stuff to play, so I'm going to have to get busy playing them right now. But it's important that what you've said and the way I handle it going forward, my brother, is to let them speak. Let them contradict what we do. And what you're going to see from the distilled messages for the two that I'm going to play now is that they are completely unable to refute anything that we say. So, Ray, let me go ahead and start playing those videos, and then we'll take it on the other side. All right?
All right. Appreciate you, brother. I'll listen on the other side.
Thank you, brother. All right, folks. Anyway, let's go to these videos right now. This first one was from our good old friend, Joe the oil man. I really like Joe. And I think Joe is really a nice person. And I don't say that trying to be nice. I genuinely think Joe is a nice person, but he is between a rock and a hard place. And that is having to go against everything that he thought was true, having to go against his belief, because again, it's so hard to break when you've been lied to for so long. So let's go ahead and listen to that interaction, and then we'll take it on the other side. Let me make sure and I get that out here. There we go. We got a call. Let's go ahead and go to Joe. Come on in, Joe.
Hey, good morning, Egberto.
Good morning, sir.
Hey, and I gotta tell you, your message is just false, man. I mean, MAGA. I'm MAGA, and I'm not afraid. I'm not freaking out. I don't watch any of those news sources you just mentioned. You know, and when people like Howard say, "How do they not see this?" It's because we're not watching the propaganda news, man. We're not watching MSNBC or any of the other garbage. You guys sound just as ridiculous as Rush Limbaugh or Sean Hannity or any of the rest of them, right? You might as well start selling gold. That's just ridiculous.
You know what, Joe, let me just interrupt you for a second here. One of the things that I like to do with anybody, whether you're on the left, right, or whatever, is whenever we talk in policy or issues for one issue at a time, I like for you to go ahead and tell specifically where you think things that I've said or that Howard have said is incorrect. And, from immigration to child care to all the things that we support, I would like people like you call yourself a proud MAGA, to express one item at a time, not in generalities, one item at a time, what we have said that is actually wrong.
Well, Alberto, the other day I was searching the internet to find what you would talk, what you're trying to, what you like about Biden and what it is policies, and so I'm searching for things like poverty and I searched you and I came across Willie's Media, and then I found, to my surprise, that you had actually recorded one of our phone calls where you asked me the same question. Right. And rather than answer it, because the answer is everything you say is a distortion. Everything.
Okay. Again, for our audience to understand, Joe, right? When you make comments like everything I say is a distortion, what is a good thing for you to do then is to specify what specifically that I said was a distortion. I'd like you to tell me what specifically that I said that is incorrect or is misleading or whatever. And then the audience that's listening to us can come back and determine who has validity. So specifically, what are you speaking about?
Okay, I mean, at the top of my list is the time you said that Donald Trump is evil incarnate.
Okay, let's define what evil means. Evil means doing things that harm other human beings. I can itemize, and I'm not even talking from a policy point of view. I can itemize from a social point of view many things that Donald Trump has done to hurt people, which is the definition of an incarnate evil. And I can start by saying he has several working class people work for him at his hotels. He stiffed them, and when they sued him, held them in court, putting them at risk for bankruptcy, some going into bankruptcy. He has raped women, categorically proven. He has created schools, universities where he took people's money under the pretense that he's teaching them something. He's lied to them about that, taking their money. So, I mean, when I say that, there's a backing for what I've said. Every single thing that I say, there's a back end. So what's the other topic you think that I'm incorrect about?
So that's what I'm saying. It's a distortion, dude. You maintain, some thread of plausibility, but
what did I say? I just gave you an example. Sir, of why the guy is evil.
Here, I take the time to call here, right? And I don't like getting dumped on by you, right? But just the point is, Tammany Hall. Did you learn about Tammany Hall in school and Boss Tweed and all that? That's exactly what you've got now. That's exactly what you've got now. You do not reflect the will of the people. Your leaders were appointed by Tammany Hall. This candidate you're so proud of, she washed out early in your last primary, and she was selected for her characteristics.
Joe, you have yet to tell me what I've said that was incorrect. I mean, I hear you go off on your rants, and that's okay. I give you your platform because I believe in giving everybody a hearing. But again, you can't. Let me tell you what it sounds like. There's something that there's.
I'll give you another one.
Go ahead.
I'll give you another one. Okay, I'll give you another one. A lot of times, your talking points align perfectly with the Democrat press releases, and one of them it was predictable. You came out and said that crime is down. Crime is down, right? And the database that supported that data, right, was corrupt.
Okay, let's stop.
Data said, "Oh, when I called you out on it, you got all squishy on me," and then you said, "Well, no, crime in the cities is down," and that's what you rely on. You're
first of all, that statement that you just said is false. I never got squishy. Crime is absolutely you have to determine what you're going to use as your baseline. Okay, in other words, how do you determine if crime is down? You look at the statistics that are out there for crimes that are occurring now. I mean, and the fact of the matter, crime is down. Now you can try to say otherwise. That's what you guys that's what you thought you could run on. But crime was higher under Trump than it was under Biden. Now, I am not going to say that Biden specifically solved the crime problem. What I will say is that crime is a socioeconomic thing in the aggregate, and what Biden's policy, because it helped people more on an economic level, that will inherently, indirectly reduce crime. Crime went up under Trump. Period. We can.
The data doesn't support that, dude. The data does not support that.
Sir, unfortunately, you are. Okay, Joe, I got my phones are filled up. And what I'm saying, whenever you decide, and look, we could actually, I would love to do this. We'll go for coffee with our computers, each of us. And we go ahead and look up the data together and show that. I mean that. You know what, sir? I mean that. We'll go ahead. I would love to have MAGA against progressive, a camera there. We start item for item, look it up for America to see. You see, because what happens is this: we are in silos. So everybody do their things separately, and they lie to you about your things, and then I have to spend a whole lot of time refuting it one at a time. And what I told you again, wait, hold on. Unlike the right, I tell people don't take what I say at face value. Look it up. But Joe, we'll have to go because my lines are completely filled up. And I need to go to Moses. But look, you got a platform here, brother. You can keep calling.
Work together on.
Thank you, sir. We can.
Figure out what we can work together on.
Yes, we'll talk later, Joe. Thank you so kindly for calling.
And that is the issue. As you can see, the guy not once could he come out and say you were wrong about X, Y, Z. The only time that he came close is to try to imply that the crime data was incorrect. So when they don't like the data, they just say, the data is not right. The data is wrong. I had somebody else called in. This one was with regards to changing, having Biden drop out and Kamala Harris take the position after the delegates voted for her. He wanted to say it's unconstitutional. What Fox News is talking about. And it made no sense. So this one is a very short one. I want you to listen to this one here, and then we'll take it on the other side. Brother Bart, come on in, Bart.
Yes, I'm glad you said that the people are easily fooled, because you and 99% of your listeners don't know that we had just lived through a coup. Joe Biden was overthrown yesterday.
Wow.
And this does not fall in line with the Constitution. So if you can tell me where.
All right. Okay. You know what? I don't have a lot of time, but Bart, you just said something. I want you to prove your point. What happened within the Democratic Party where Kamala Harris is now likely the vote getter from the delegates? What part of that is unconstitutional? Give me the constitutional paragraph that corresponds to what was done that was incorrect.
Biden cannot just step down and appoint Harris.
Please, he didn't appoint her. Wait again. That's not true. The delegates she just got last night, the Texas delegation took her over the top. Who specifically ordered something? Again, Biden stepped down. That's not constitutionally illegal. The party has its own set of rules, and the rules of the party said if he steps down, that these other people have the right to elect who they want to elect. And they elected Kamala Harris. What part of that is unconstitutional? I mean, Fox News is saying that a lot. That's what I tell you about fooling people. Fox News also said that. It's a false statement. And people who don't read the Constitution do fall for that. Please give me the constitutional paragraph.
Who's our president right now?
Our president is he's Brian.
Until Trump's elected. So who's our president from now?
Our president is Biden. Biden is our president. Go ahead, continue.
Okay, where is he?
Oh, Bart, I got to go to Brian because you're not making sense today, my brother. I'm sorry. I just told you, give me the constitutional part and what's wrong. Now you try to change the subject. Where is Biden? Biden was just on the phone with Kamala Harris yesterday afternoon. He's sick with COVID. What do you do when you have COVID? You isolate. Thank you, Bart. I got to go to Brian.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number one, subscribe to our channel. And number two, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what most Americans say that they want. So help us, please join.
Absolutely so, folks. Please remember to join, support the program however you can. Anyway, folks, let's see what else we have. Hey, Joseph Peters. Eres mi Panamá. This is Joseph Peters de Panamá, ¿cierto? De Arco Iris. Just checking. If you are, let me know. All right, mostly regular people donating. J-Ray, yeah, and that's what was great about it. That is what's showing that it is grassroots movement that is coming on because they feel the excitement of finally getting out of the rut. Now, who's the old man in the race again? Oh, the old man in the race is a guy named Donald Trump. So let's see if that's what the case is gonna be. Egberto Willis, people, mostly men and older women on both sides, think that Kamala Harris is too outspoken. When a man does it, it is confident and strong. When a woman does it, is a bitch. Speaking of change already. Let me tell you, I don't want Kamala to hold back. And I want our young women and our young men and our people and all our people to go out there forcefully. There are more of you now. There are more millennials than there are baby boomers. Baby boomers are dying out. Millennials, assert your worth. Millennials, assert your worth. Stop these people from clamping down on women. Now, talking about clamping down on women and clamping down on real people, let's see. Egberto, I skipped the last 5 minutes of Joe's call. Hey, I know some of you can't take it, and I respect you, brother Rudnin. If you can't take it, it's fine. If you can't take it, it's fine. Anyway, because, I'll take it all. I'll take it all because my goal is, well, you guys know what my goal is. Nope, she shouldn't hold back at all. Thank you, Breach. I am with you, girl. I'm with you. I'm absolutely with you. All right, let's tee up the last video. It turns out that Project 2025 is nothing more than furthering the wealth transfer engine, putting it on steroids. I mean, we have a trickle-down economy right now that was instituted forcefully by Reagan. And even as many as Clinton, even as Obama tried to mitigate it, slow it down, it continued. And every time a Republican gets in, they increase it. Well, MAGA wants to codify it via Project 2025. And here is what 2025 is going to mean to the average middle class, to the average working class American. When we talk about Project 2025 that MAGA is supporting, and all those rural MAGAs, all those working class MAGA, all those unionized MAGA, all of them that are working for it, fail to understand you are not screwing the left. You are not giving it to the libs. You're not sticking it to the libs. You're mostly sticking it to yourself. Check this out and we'll take it on the other side.
Project 2025, the 920-page policy manifesto by the conservative group, the Heritage Foundation, highlights a wish list of economic and financial plans under a potential Trump second term. While Trump hasn't said he doesn't know anything about Project 2025, he says he doesn't know anything about it. We did a segment recently with NBC's Vaughn Hilliard showing how connected to it he actually is, even if he denies it. Proposals include higher taxes on lower income Americans, increased student loan payments, and major cuts to Medicaid. Steve Ratner has made his way to the Southwest Wall with charts on those financial implications of Project 2025. And Steve, your first chart shows there would be higher taxes on the less well-off. Tell us about it.
Sure, Mika. Look, taxes are obviously perhaps issue number one on the minds of many Americans, and Project 25 is very clear about what it wants to do. It essentially wants to restructure our tax system into only two tax brackets, 15% for those earning less than the Social Security maximum, which is, I think, about $166,000 a year, and 30% for those earning above. But that would radically change how much different Americans pay. It would actually increase the amount that people making less than $150,000, less than that cutoff, pay $1,000, $2,000, $2,500. They would pay more taxes, but people above the wealthy would pay dramatically less taxes. If you earn $400,000 a year, you would get a tax cut of about $14,000. So an extraordinary shift in the tax burden away from the wealthy and toward the less wealthy. This is an even more extreme version of what Trump did in his tax bill, the TCJA, Tax Cut and Jobs Act, back in 2017 or so. And you can see here the impact of that was similarly regressive in that people at the bottom got a much smaller percentage increase in their tax cut, and the people at the top got a much larger tax cut. 85% of this tax bill went to people making more than $75,000 or to business. And so essentially what this proposal would do is take this and put it on steroids.
So, Steve, the Biden administration's attempts to actually lessen the student loan burden really enraged Republicans. In fact, whenever you would bring up January the 6th, it seems that a lot of Republicans go, yeah, well, look what Joe Biden did with student loans. And they were serious. Like, that's sad, but they were serious. This Project 2025 thing actually is going to increase the burden on people with student loans, right?
Yeah. So Joe Biden did make a bunch of proposals. Some of them got litigated and overturned, but then he found other ways, which I'm going to talk about in a second, to address the student loan burden. But what Project 2025 would do essentially would be to eliminate all of what the Biden administration did to cut the burden of student loans. And you can see here, this is broken down by education and all the way from some college, but no degree, to master's program. And so in terms of the monthly student loan payments, for the people at the bottom, their monthly average student payments would go from $78 to $308. So a huge increase for those with very little college, people who don't probably have great jobs, and for whom this is a big burden. And then smaller increases, but still substantial, all the way up to people who have master's degrees. So completely wiping out everything the Biden administration has done for the last 3.5 years. But let me show you one impact of what the Biden administration has done, We all know that student loan debt has been a huge problem, and it's gone up and up and up. It's gone up and up per student. And this is even inflation adjusted, and it went up under Trump. But for the first time since at least 2007, student loan debt per borrower has actually gone down for three straight years. Still really high, but you can actually see tangible progress made under the Biden administration in reducing that student loan burden.
Yeah, and so we're talking about higher student loans. We're talking about higher taxes for working class Americans, and finally, let's talk about the impact that it's going to have to Medicaid. You know, there used to be this idea, Medicaid, that just goes to poor people living in urban areas. And what a lot of Americans have figured out since Medicaid cuts have come, no, that's money that actually funds rural hospitals. That's money that funds nursing homes. That's money that funds a lot of medical care, a lot of medical treatment for Americans of all demographics in all parts of America. And Donald Trump, if he really does embrace 2025, like he said in the past, he's going to support more massive cuts to Medicare.
Yeah, Joe, you're right.
And Medicaid. You're
right, Joe. Medicaid, I think there's something like 90 million people on Medicaid in America, 38 million children. So you're right. It is not just some urban program for a few poor people. And what Project 2025 wants to do is put limits on how long you can stay on Medicaid, effectively kick people off Medicaid, put in work requirements, put in a whole number of restrictions that would dramatically change the number of people who are on Medicaid. So this map shows you by color coding, the darker colors being the worst hit places, what share of enrollees could lose their Medicaid. So in Virginia, in Wisconsin, in Idaho, you could be talking about 40 to 50% of people being kicked off of Medicaid. In every state, pretty much, you can see that it's anywhere from 10% up to 40% all the way across the country. It would be a massive change in a program that, as you said, is absolutely central to our healthcare system and to the lives of so many people who can't afford their own healthcare. But it's also a question politically of whether this is really a great idea for the Republicans to embrace, because Medicaid is actually extraordinarily popular. Not surprisingly, it's supported by 90% of Democrats versus only 8% who have an unfavorable view of it. But even among Republicans, 65% of Republicans think favorably about Medicaid, and only 32% think unfavorably about Medicaid. So it's terrible policy. It also may be terrible politics for the Republicans to embrace proposals like this.
And it's particularly terrible if you look at the map in states like Virginia, Wisconsin, and obviously important states for this election.
We spend a lot of...
And what's going to be important going forward, and this is a marching orders for everybody here. The mainstream media are going to be concentrated on all the stupidity that Trump is going to do. You know, that childlike behavior by saying, look at Kamala's hair. Look at how Kamala laughs. Look at how Kamala sits. Oh, Kamala went out with Willie Brown a few years ago. Oh, Kamala... that's what they're going to be pushing. Oh, look at Kamala locked up a whole lot of black men, not realizing that if Kamala locked up a whole lot of black men, that may be something that gives her the vote from quite a few races, right? But anyhow, they're going to be talking about all those kinds of things to deflect. And what Kamala has to do is what she did in that speech that she just gave in Wisconsin. In a 2-minute answer, 15 minutes to call out the lie. 15 seconds to call out the lie, another 15 seconds to correct the record, and you use 90 seconds to tell you how you're going to change the lives of American citizens. And if Kamala does that, and if all of you out there, when you have the Erics and the Brother Lees and the CSAC coming with the ill or misinformation and lies that they have allowed themselves to accept from the right-wing lying machines, you will be able to use the wording that, let's say, Eric uses. You will be able to use Eric's words to gain your credibility as you tell truth to the American people. It works. How do I know? It does. These videos that I do whenever I challenge a MAGA person and I've turned it into a video and I put it out there, you would not imagine the amount of messages that I get that says, oh, wow, I've been hearing that on Fox News thank you. Thank you. And that's what it's all about. Remember, progressives are the side that are doing good work to help people. Remember, progressives are the ones with the policies that assist and give people equal access to success. And remember, the other policies are only about conserving that which is not worth conserving because it harms too many. Let's all remember that. Let's all remember that. And if we go out there and do that job, when Kamala says we have all that work to do, that is the absolute fact. We have a lot of work to do because there's a lot of misinformation to dispel. And I'm not talking about being in a hurry to dispel the information from the Erics of the world. Eric's my friend. Eric is completely misled. Eric is completely off base. Eric is completely wrong. But if I were to use that as a reason to hate, I would have fallen into the trap set by the right, which wants dissension. I won't go there. I will continue using the lies of the right to bring more people into the fold. And it is something that one can do. I hear you, Paul. I know what you're saying, Paul. All right. And by no means I want to equate myself to Jesus Christ. I'm not. I promise you I'm not. But there are some lessons from Jesus Christ. I'm not a Christian. But there's a lesson. And that is how it goes today. And it goes like this. If you allow the sick, if you allow those who have been affected mentally by externalities, if you allow that to change who you are, then they win. If you bring it in and you continue moving forward and you'll use their ill-informed selves to inform others, you win. And that's what we are going to do in November. We are going to win in that landslide I've been telling you all about. Because we have the time. We have the time to go out there and prove, not just with the numbers, but with our way of being, what needs to be done. We have the numbers. And guess what, folks? People are signing up left and right to be a part of the team. People are excited. As the excitement grows, expect the right wing and the mainstream media to try to throw cogs into the gears. But we have to be ready. We have to be out there. We have to be proactive. And the last part is going to be self-serving on my part. We have to support the outlets that are telling the truth. And we have to support Politics Done Right and programs like mine to be able to go out and do things. Bruce Pollard, who just put a last message in there, great supporter of making sure the truth is told. Great supporter. We need hundreds more. So what I want to ask all of you to please go to politicsdoneright.com/support, politicsdoneright.com/support, and choose whatever form of support you can do for what we're doing. We are not only doing, we don't only do this show twice a day. We also run this program several times, and we also do a lot of other videos that we make sure to get on the internet. We make sure to do the work, to to promote the message. And what we are asking for, please support the work. If you go to politicsdoneright.com/info, I'm putting that on the screen right now. This gets you to every single one of our properties. politicsdoneright.com/info. You want to know the extent of all the things that we do, start there. And all those links takes you to the books, to the articles on different websites, both Daily Kos, op-ed, all over, where we promote the message. It's a lot of work. When you take a look at those different links, you'll see the amount of work that goes into making sure the progressive message is heard. And you can support that by going to politicsdoneright.com/support and choosing any form of support. But one of the most important forms of support that I need to ask you to consider to do today, become a new subscriber, a paid subscriber of our Egberto Off the Record newsletter. And to do that, you can just go to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. Become a paid subscriber. It's a coffee. It's a coffee. And you're allowing us to promote the message, to tell the truth. Because the mainstream media is going to have all the lies on Kamala. They're going to be out there trying to down the progressives. But we have our own channels, and that's you. So, folks, please remember to go ahead and support us at politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. I got to get out of here. My name is Egberto Willies. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out.
We spend a lot of time deconstructing the news, trying to parse it into a form that everybody can understand. We try to find those little nitpicks where it flies above the fray, etc. If you really like these videos that we do, I want to ask a big favor. Please go ahead. Number 1, subscribe to our channel. And number 2, please join if you can. Thank you so kindly for watching. Keep watching. Please remember to share. We must populate the entire internet with our progressive message, a message that we know is what